Hi, I'm Tony Robbins.
Hi, I'm Sage Robbins.
A lot of people have relationships where they've settled and they've gotten themselves in a place where it's a friendship, you know, a pat on the back, a little kiss on the cheek, but there's not that aliveness anymore. And oftentimes we're told, well, that's what you're supposed to expect after a period of time. Because it isn't about time, it's about triggers and knowing those really are. And the other thing we just want you to know is this is really about how to be happy. Because, you know, so many people in life have these dreams and goals, and then they get them and they're unhappy. And when you travel around the world, here's what you find. I don't care what background people have, what their religious belief is, what level of success or challenge they have in their life. People want happiness. They want joy. They want to feel good about their life. They want a sense of meaning, that there's love and passion there. That maybe there's something in your life that you've done that you know has made a difference for someone you love. Nothing feels greater than that. And also knowing someone loves you so much, they're so passionate for you, that your life has a different level of meaning. But as important as this area is, for most people, this is the area they master the least. Most of us run to work, or we run to business, or shaping our bodies or our kids because it's safer and we have control. But this is an area that if you take charge of yourself, and if you understand the dynamics of men and women in relationship, you can make changes in minutes that maybe you've tried to make for years and really not been able to experience. Our goal is to give you the resources to take whatever you've been talking about, whatever you've been dreaming about, or as great as your relationship is, to the next level, where love and passion is a daily experience. So we thank you, and we're going to begin this process.
Thank you for joining us. Maybe one day we'll meet you personally at a program, but until then, God bless.
Just stay on the line, and pretty soon you'll meet Jen and Paul, and you'll see what it's like to be able to come back from the edge. God bless, and we'll look forward to meeting you soon.
Live with passion and love.
And love. You're afraid?
Yes.
What are you afraid of?
That if I leave my wife, I'll lose my identity and my self-worth, and I'll lose her love and love for myself.
You probably will. In fact, it'll be worse than that.
What do you mean?
Do you have kids?
Yes.
Yes. You'll feel them hating you at times. You're going to lose a lot of money, more than you think. He's going to have another guy bring up his kids. He's going to fall in love with another woman and make all the same mistakes all over again.
This is my wife.
Hi. Is your love for this man unconditional?
Yes.
Is that your experience, sir?
I've had a lot of struggles with physical attraction. I tried to tell myself that physically that was all that I needed, and it wasn't. I don't feel that she was the person I was meant to be with for the rest of my life.
You want to leave?
I want to be free of the pain on both sides. I'm sick, I'm fed up with feeling this way. It's unfair to her, it's unfair to me.
I see. So you basically believe you know what's right, but have not had the guts to do something.
You got it.
For you to have certainty and comfort, what do you got to do?
I need to know that I'm loved.
So you're living a life where the most important thing to you in life is not being met, and you have uncertainty about it. And how much certainty do you have that your family is going to love you, 0 to 10?
100.
And you're talking about your father?
No, I lost my father.
Okay, that's okay. You were his little baby girl.
Definitely.
What did he say about you?
That I was perfect.
That bastard told her he was perfect. So I'm sorry to hear about your father's passing.
Thank you.
But your father needed to pass at some point so you could have a man. He can never be your man with your father alive. He has a chance now.
Wow. It's like I have this huge weight lifted off my shoulders that I don't have the worry that used to bog down my brain.
Many people probably believe they've tried everything, and you know, with what they're thinking at the time, they probably can't see anything else. If they love the person they're with and they know it in their heart, just try one more time, because it's so worth it.
Hey, it's Tony Robbins. Listen, I'm here today to talk to the gentlemen in the group, but in case any ladies are watching today as well, here's my question for you ladies. How many of you cannot stand a man who can't make a decision? How many of you cannot stand a man who, at one point in the relationship, he's there for you, and now he doesn't feel present at all? How many can't stand a man that can't tell you the truth? And now that I've stirred up the ladies, this is really a video for men. So gentlemen, I know you know there's been women in your life who have felt in the beginning so much passion for you. And then gradually you guys seem to drift apart and you love each other, but there isn't that same aliveness, that same sensuality or sexuality or excitement together. And a lot of men think that's women that creates it. I would argue to you, gentlemen, that if you and I take responsibility and we dig underneath and we understand what the triggers are that make women turn off, then we can turn them back on, and not by some stupid technique, but by the thing that affects most women the deepest, and that is your presence. Most women are starving for a man who's present. What does present mean? It means a man who is right here with me 100% right now. His mind isn't doing 20 other things. And I know, gentlemen, it's hard to be present when a woman is talking to you and she's talking about so many things so quickly very often that don't relate, because a woman's brain has something called diffused awareness. It means they take in everything all at once. It isn't multitasking. It's literally transitioning, not even transitioning, experiencing multiple conversations and people at one time, whereas men tend to focus on one thing at a time. And when a woman starts doing that, most men's brains click in and they try to focus on one thing they can handle, and they're no longer present. If you're in your head and you're not connected to that woman, she doesn't feel that presence. And presence is what opens a woman. Presence is what causes a woman to open to you sensually, sexually, emotionally, her heart, her soul, the whole 9 yards. Ladies, correct me if I'm wrong. There is nothing more powerful than presence when there's real love involved. So, and often women will respond to a man who doesn't even love them, but who's present for them, where they feel like there's nothing else in the world but me right now. And gentlemen, you know how to do that when you're in the zone in sports. You are so present. When you're in the zone trying to solve a problem, you were so there. And you probably were so there when you were pursuing this woman. But if you can train yourself to bring that presence back on a regular basis, you can own your woman like she's never been owned, where she will literally melt to you. And I don't think most women who are feminine would argue with what I'm sharing with you right now. If they do, they can not only talk back to the video, they can write some comments down below wherever this thing is posted. So what makes women also feel you're not present is when they feel like you're not honest. And most men are truly honest, but they just don't want to deal with what they call the shit. That must be the technical term, right? The shit they get for telling the truth because she disagrees about it. And men get worn out by words. Men were happy to resolve it, but then finally they'll just say, yeah, okay. When you say, yeah, okay, and it's not really okay with you, you're not present. So she gets even more animated. See, most women, they don't want to please her. They would like to be pleased, but they don't want to please her. A pleaser is trying to do anything they can to make things work. They feel there's no presence in that man. He has no center. He has no strength. They may like him, but it's going to be hard for them to respect him. And if she doesn't respect him, there's not going to be a lot of passion. And if him is you, that's a real problem. You and I both know, whether you're a single man who's meeting women or whether you're in an intimate relationship. So I thought maybe what I'd show you is one example of how women perceive dishonesty, as men perceive it as just leaving things out so they don't have to deal with more challenges, and how to deal with it differently. And I can tell you that verbally, but it might be better to witness it. We were in Hawaii recently, and there was a gentleman there sharing with us that he has so much difficulty just dealing with his wife. She wants him to do things like do the dishes, and he says, I run a business, and if I don't do the dishes, she doesn't feel like I love her. And I said, well, then why wouldn't you just do it at times? He goes, I do at times, but it's like every time. And so she'll ask me, am I going to do dishes? And I say yes, and then I don't do it, and then she gets mad at me, and I said, yeah, because there isn't anything authentic. I said, why don't you play your wife right now, and let's talk about whatever she's upset about, and I'll just be me, but I'll be you. In other words, I'll be myself if I was you. And you'll just watch this little video, and it's pretty simplistic. All I basically say is, no, I'm not going to do it. And he was shocked when I demonstrated this, but I didn't do it harshly. I didn't say, you should go do these dishes. I don't have the delusion that that's the woman's job. I just said, I'm not going to do it. This is the higher priority, but I also don't think it should be your problem, and I'm committed to working out a solution, but I'm not going to do this. And there's some things that you probably don't want to do. I don't want you to do. Let's work this out. It's coming from a place of congruency. And people can feel when you say what you mean and you mean what you say versus when you're placating. So I know this is third grade at one level, like we all know this intellectually, but knowing it intellectually and doing it is the difference between having a passionate relationship and a relationship where you're constantly accommodating each other. And accommodation doesn't produce passion. It might have a relationship where there's some friendship, but again, the only difference between a friendship and an intimate relationship is intimacy. And real exciting intimacy is when people feel your presence. Feeling the dishonesty will take it away. So watch this quick little video, real simple, and see what you get out of it, gentlemen. And think about if you might use that same sense of presence that's already inside you, that you use in business or sports with that woman and not let the past wear it out. You might be surprised. Women very often, when they feel that strength, it excites them to see you have a standard and you're not going to be swayed. Take it out and maybe show this even to a woman in your life and see if she agrees. She might say, Tony Robbins is so full of it, that's a bunch of crap. My bet is she'll say, yeah, smack you on the shoulder. That's what I've been trying to tell you. Be present with me. And instead of saying, well, I'm sorry, I'll do better, just deliver it. Maybe this week is a time, Valentine's week, a time for you to find your own center, the way you do in business, the way you do when you have a purpose. Do that with a woman in your life, the game will change. But you decide there's going to be a part of you and a part of your partner in life, whether you found them or the one you're pursuing or the one you're already with, that you're going to start to cherish at a different level.
Absolutely.
And while that may sound corny, we've got some skills. We just spent some time in Hawaii for 7 days with our platinum partners, and we went deep. We were with couples that were absolutely gone. How would you describe some of them? Some of them totally in love, some of them over the top, but how would you describe the experience, honey?
It was, it's amazing to be able to take a relationship that truthfully doesn't feel that passion and doesn't feel that intimacy and that love, and in a moment to be able to decide something new. And that's what happened over and over and over again in Hawaii. And so you're going to be able to experience a taste of that. And we're just here to say that this weekend, Valentine's week, remember, it's about waking up. It's about waking up to adoring your partner at such a different level and celebrating your partner. And, it's crazy because on Valentine's Day, we do so much that's romantic and that's thoughtful and that's creative and go out of our way. And it's about bringing that magic and that love and that thoughtfulness and that sincerity and waking up to your partner's needs at such a different level, because it really is in the little things that, just create that depth of love.
It's also just deciding to set a stake in the ground,
Yes.
a standard for going forward, that this is not just Valentine's Day, but your life.
Absolutely.
People get what they accept. People get what they tolerate in themselves and in each other. And most people in a relationship are thinking about what they're going to tolerate in the other person. But in our relationship, I think the beauty and the passion and all the juice that I've gotten to experience in our relationship with my girl is because I hold myself to a higher standard than she could ever expect of me. And I think when your standard and focus is about yourself instead of about your partner, about how do I show up more, what am I here to give? In the beginning of a relationship, people's whole focus is how do I light them up? I want to do anything that lights them up. And it makes you feel incredible to light your partner up. And a relationship is aging, not based on years, but based on when you can be with somebody a week, but if you start thinking about, well, what are they doing for me? And I'm doing it all, and you start measuring what you're giving instead of just giving from your heart and your soul, things drop off. So maybe this week is a chance for you to really create some relationship breakthroughs. And we think that takes three things, any kind of breakthrough. Sometimes it's having the right strategy. Because frankly, as a guy, we say and do things that girls interpret very differently. They come up with very different meanings, and vice versa. For men, for example, problems are not things you talk about. Problems are things you solve right now, or you make them small and move on. For ladies, sharing that problem, digging in, feeling it, not solving it, understanding it.
Understanding, gentlemen, is such a key piece. We are such different species. And I think having an understanding of each other and each other's needs and knowing that we are not the same. Our own reality of how we think and feel and process life isn't the same for your partner. So having that, not just understanding, but truthfully appreciation for how they view and experience the world is a game changer. There's so many things in our relationship, and it's like, oh my goodness, you know what? It's not me, because sometimes you take things personally. It's just knowing that that's how they process reality and process life.
When they say that, it's not men are for Mars, women are for Venus. John Gray's a friend of mine. That's a wonderful approach, but all men have a feminine side and a masculine side. All women have a feminine side and a masculine side. It's really just understanding how this species, they're different species, interpret the world. And if you don't understand the strategy of how to interpret that, you'll be upset or angry or frustrated. So perhaps this week, you'll be able to dig in and get some new understandings that'll take some of the weight off and make you laugh at stuff that you used to get upset about. It's one thing to have strategies to know how to fix things, but oftentimes you don't apply what you know because you got a story about your relationship, a story about your partner. They don't really care. You've got frustrations or pains or disappointments that got interpreted in the past, and now you're generalizing about your partner. And whenever we generalize about anybody, we do them a disservice and ourselves as well. So maybe this week during Valentine's week is maybe discover what are the empowering stories about your relationship. If you ask a couple, how did you meet? And they talk about it with such passion and excitement, the relationship's still alive. If they go, yeah, we met, this is what happened and we bumped into each other, there's no energy for it. Even the story of how you met affects you.
It does.
So part of this week, you might want to take a look at the stories that you tell about your partner to yourself, to your friends, to your partner. Because we start to believe our stories. And I always tell people, you want to change your life, change your story. Divorce the story of how your partner's not enough, or you'll never find the partner you want if you're single, or the good ones are gone. Whatever's stopping you from getting what you want in a relationship, there's a story about it. If you can uncover it, you can get rid of it. Divorce your story and marry the truth. The truth is always something that will empower you much more.
And that truth of that magnification, remembering, it's like one of the gifts that we give each other, especially actually at a time like this, like Valentine's week, is actually reliving those moments, you know, reliving the magic and appreciating the magic. And it's just, I don't know, it infuses into your life rather than looking and letting those stack up for you, become frustrations. And the story knowing that this man, I was born to love this man.
I love that story. And God gifted me for all that I've done with millions of people, the good I've done. This has been the gift of my life that I've gotten from that. I believe that's my positive karma. That's the core story I believe about this woman. And that produces a love and a commitment and a devotion to each other that gets through any of the other BS that shows up when you get caught up in the daily stresses of things.
So rewrite your story. What is your love affair, and who are you for the one that you love?
And if you're single, it's time to rewrite the story of who you are and the one that you're going to attract, because whatever we focus on, wherever, we all know, wherever energy goes, wherever focus goes, energy flows. So your story controls the energy of your life. If you think all the good ones are gone, it's self-fulfilling. You know, if you're overweight and you aren't losing weight, the strategies are there, but you're not doing it because you go, I've tried everything. You haven't tried everything, not all the good ones are gone, and your partner who's right with you, if there was ever a passion, that passion can be brought back to life with the right strategies, but first you got to have the story that says it can. The last one real fast and we'll go is, the most important part of a relationship is the state you're in. We always call it the state of the union. You know, what's the state of the union? If two people, independent of each other, are in peak states about things in their business, their life, their career, and they meet together, it's a great relationship. If they're both in kind of a so-so state, eventually the relationship's so-so. If they're both in a crappy state, pretty soon it's a crappy relationship. What people want is, when we meet somebody, we get attracted to them because they change our state, they change the way we feel, and we get excited and want to be with them. Are you putting yourself in a state when you're with the partner in your life or the person you want to attract? Are you really in the state that would make them want to be with you like they would be in the beginning? You know, most people are noticing what the other person isn't doing, but the most important thing is you're going to interpret your partner in really negative ways when you're in a lousy state. You ever been mad at somebody about something and you found out later on you were wrong? It was just the state you're in. So we have so many tools for changing state, and we work at it.
We do, and I'm giggling about this one because state, my husband always says I'm the most loving human being on the planet until I don't eat, then he calls me Godzilla. So from
Breathing fire.
From a state perspective, be aware, sometimes truthfully, we will, even if there's a stacking or we have a frustration, we will literally, it's like, you know what, we need to change our state. We'll go drink some water, we'll eat something. Just taking a breath from what's happening in that moment, so it allows your physiology to change, so you're not like bringing that to the table in that moment, because that can just cause, if you're both frustrated and those two frustrations are just going together, it's like, literally, I mean, we will, physically just, it's like, let's do something physical. We'll jump in the pool. It sounds crazy, but it actually, like, you know, you come out and you feel different, and feeling different, your physiology, you experience a different reality.
When you're stuck in a relationship, you're stuck because you're stuck in a state. People get stuck in the future, or future's not the way they want it to be in their head, or something had happened in the past. The best thing is to change something in the present. Physically change it, drink some water, have something to eat, jump in the river, do whatever you got to do, because in the right state, you and I both know if there's any love there, you will transform and come back and solve the problem. But in the wrong state, good people, the right people in the wrong state will mess up the relationship. So if you want to have a breakthrough, this week, look at some of the strategies for understanding, appreciating, and changing. Look at what triggers you to feel attracted, because this week's not just about love, it's love and passion. Because if all you have is love, you have a friendship. Nothing wrong with that, but if you have an intimate relationship, then there's passion there. So what are the strategies to trigger that, the masculine and feminine energy, the dance of it? Take a look at some of those this week. Take a look at this week as your own story. Take a look at your state. And we're going to introduce some little videos this week for you. It's just our gift to you. And then at some point, there'll be an offering for you to continue your education with us. We have our Ultimate Relationship Program, and they'll have some kind of special offer for you. And that's, if you want to continue this journey with us and really expand things, please take advantage of that. But the first thing we want to do in the next day or two, maybe they'll put it on this video, I don't know how they'll do it, is what we call the 8 to be great, which is, what are the laws of love and lust? They're different, love and passion. What makes you love somebody doesn't always make you excited by them. Sometimes you just want to snuggle. What makes you excited doesn't always bring out love. How do you trigger both of these in the same relationship?
And ignite that,
Yes.
ignite that passion, ignite that love, ignite that attraction, and you can turn on in an instant. And that's what we really share. You know, for us, we are each other's best friends. I mean, there's literally, we share everything together. And yet, to have that and to have that intimacy alive, to have that and to have that level of attraction, that's where it's a game changer. It's a game changer of a level of love and excitement and anticipation to really share your life together.
And fun.
And fun. Like we can call each other Godzilla and we just roll with it.
Godzilla.
Me.
I'm never intense. What are you talking about?
He's a cupcake.
Anyway, I'm a total cupcake. Happy Valentine's Week.
Yes.
We hope you enjoy some of the stuff we're sending you. We hope it's helpful for you. We know it will be if you take the time, and hopefully we get a chance to meet you in person someday at an event, or hear the story of how you've changed your life and changed your relationship. Either created the one you really want or taken the one that you're in to a new level. God bless to you. Happy Valentine's Day. I would say that the most important thing that anybody has to do, man or woman, but I think you're right, men in the past have been conditioned to associate more of their worth to what they do, and women have over time more to the relationships. And I think it may even go beyond conditioning. The biochemistry is obviously very different. Every man and every woman has both male and female energy in them, so does every woman. But most people have a tendency to have one that's stronger. And so the answer to that is you have to become a creator instead of just a hunter. If you're a hunter and you get what you want, rarely are you happy anyway. That's what most men do. And what I think you have to do instead is attract what you want. And the way you attract what you want is not just thinking positively or thinking good thoughts. It's getting really specific about what it is you want, like anything in life. Almost anything you've ever achieved in your life, you got really clear. Something you got excited about, you got obsessed by, you thought about it. Almost everybody can relate to something I wanted so bad I couldn't stop thinking about it. And because you kept thinking about it, and if you didn't come to a place of fear, you hear things, you notice things, you started making distinctions, ideas came to you, put together a plan, you took some action, something didn't work, you tried something else. But you eventually got there because you were so driven, so hungry, and so clear. But if you got a general goal, like I want to have a relationship so that I can be worthwhile, or I want to lose some weight, I want to make some money, well fine, here's $1, fine, here's a guy, fine, lose a pound, and you just achieved your goal. So I think people have to get really specific. And what I did in my own life that transformed my own life is I sat down and I wrote down everything I could possibly want in a relationship. Everything. And I was ridiculous in the level of precision. I wrote like 6 pages. And I wrote spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, sense of humor, how we'd interact, what kind of things we'd laugh about, do. I mean, that level of insanity. And then, but some people made lists like that before. Then I went through and I crossed out everything that wasn't really a must. That wasn't really I was passionate about, right? And I trimmed the list down. Then I said, I'm gonna read this every day, I'm gonna feed my mind, but I gotta understand something. Just because I want something, I'm not a believer. I didn't participate in The Secret for a very good reason, because I don't believe in The Secret. I think there's many secrets. And I believe the law of attraction is one of them. I've taught it for years, but it isn't. To make it like that's all of life is absurd. If all you have to do is think positively and hold it clearly, and then the secret is you'll attract your own thoughts, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of the laws in life that are also equally important. And who's to say that you're supposed to think of something and get it if everything you thought about you'd be bored out of your mind? Plus, not getting what you want is sometimes the most valuable thing that could ever happen to you. Because out of that, you become deeper, richer, stronger. You open up at a different level, and now you have more to give to other people as well as to give to yourself. Somebody who says, I had a friend that was, I was mentioning this the other day, who when The Secret first came out, and he's a good friend of mine, he goes, some of the stuff you teach is more complex. This is so simple. That's what I like. It's really simple. I said, well, if you want simple, just go do it. Tell me how it's working. He said, well, I focused on green lights all the way here, and I got green lights all the way here. And I said, what are you going to do when you get red lights? You gonna blame yourself? You think I'm not thinking positively enough? I said, you're gonna say, oh, I'm messed up? And I said, that's just stupid. I said, you know what it is? It's like, are you saying the people that were in Auschwitz were there because they just weren't thinking positive enough and they attracted all this negativity to their life? That's absurd. We all have different life paths and different stages of our path, and each stage opens up different possibilities for us. So I'm a big believer that you have to put yourself in a position where you decide not only what you want, but who do you have to become to attract that, not just think positive. So it's like, I made a list of all the things that, what kind of man would I have to be for a woman of that caliber to want to be with me, not just for a day, a week, a month, or a year, but the rest of my life. And that was the powerful list. And that's what I went to work on instead of going after the woman. Because, man chases women, women move. I was always the nice guy, so all the women loved me, and I was a big pleaser, and they'd love me for a while, and they'd be like, he's just so nice, and then some badass guy would get him, right? But when I owned myself, I didn't have to be a badass guy, and I wasn't a nice guy. everyone wants to be pleased, but no one wants a pleaser, right? They might think they want it, but once they get him, they'll be bored silly with it. So when I owned myself and I knew who I was as a man and I had these qualities, then, attracting the woman of my dreams was my wife for 12 years now since, and I'm out of my mind for still, she's out of mind for me. That came about. So then all I did was read those every day for several months, and then gradually I started reading them like once every week or two. And I was on a train between, going to the Swiss Alps between Paris and Venice with my wife Sage, who was my girlfriend at the time, or actually one of my girlfriends at the time. And I was a very honest man about that. I said, I'm not looking to be tied down. I've been in that situation. And we were doing things, we were so in sync, and I said, wait a second. And I said, and I pulled out, I used to, have like a little time planner in those days, and I read it to her, and everything on the list I wanted, she was. Everything I didn't want. I listed what I didn't want also, I should mention that, because sometimes you get everything you want, and then you get a few things you don't want, and they mess up everything else. Everything I want, everything I didn't want that was a must. And she was everything on it. The kind of guy that I said that I would commit to being is who I was, and that's everything she wanted.